What's up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Fireflies Forever, and we appreciate you all being with us again this week. We got a lot to talk about, as we always do. So let me bring a couple gentlemen on the screen real quick. Here we go. We've got Joe in the house. What's up, Joe?
Hi, Jeff, and I'm so sorry. I told Jeff I'd give him a night off. He's been working so hard and then, of course, I'm outside, and the guy that does our lawn left the back gate open, and my dog is nowhere to be found. So thankfully, myself and my daughter were going nuts for the last hour, looking around the town as far as we could for her. But thankfully, she knew enough to come back. My daughter was a mess. You guys all, you have a pet that have had that happen to you probably one other time ago, but we were a mess trying to find her. But luckily she's a pig and she wandered back when it came time for dinner. So thankfully we did get her. So I apologize. I should have been on a little bit earlier, but that's where I was chasing my dog. So yes, so I do apologize for the late start, and I apologize to Jeff too, because like I said, he truly deserves a break with all he's been doing for his job and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully, Jeff, you don't even you don't have to stay on the entire time if you don't want to. I do apologize though.
It's fine. It's fine. We're here, so we're good. We're good.
All right,
yeah.
buddy.
And we've got Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's up, everybody?
Thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, and like we do. I want to start with the memory that Chris is sharing with us. So, Chris, I'll have you set this video up, and then we'll play it.
Yeah. So it was on this past Sunday. Me and Logan went to the Brickyard 400 out at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I came across this video recently, so I thought it would be a good time to share it with everybody. At a time years ago when me and Jodie went out there, that was one of her absolute favorite places to go. She loved going out there, and I wanted to share with everybody this video of one of those times. We went out there for when they were doing testing before the Indianapolis 500 that year.
That's awesome, man. So we'll play this video, and we'll come back on the other side.
Hi everyone. So I am out here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway watching all the Indy cars practice, and it's so amazing. I just wanted to be able to share it with you. So we just went green. So we should have some cars coming around here pretty soon. So I am going to show you because it's amazing. It's the best place in the world. Fun.
I love that.
Awesome.
Love that. So, Chris, I got to ask this for folks who've never been to an IndyCar race. How fast do those cars zoom around the track?
The Indy cars get up going, especially like during qualifications for the Indy 500. They get up to about most of the qualification speeds over the last couple of years been about 243, 244.
Good gracious.
234, sorry. 234, not 244. Track record is like 236, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, they're fast.
Very fast. Very fast. So I guess, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but you obviously, Jodie really enjoyed the races and being out there at the track. How many races would you say that you and your family have gone to over the years?
Not that many, honestly. I just got into racing like a little bit before me and Jodie met, and I discovered she had been into it too. So it's something we liked together. Then we went to a couple together, but it was difficult because race day is tough to bring kids to because you have to be up super early to get out there and find parking and stuff, and you have to at least usually park at least a mile away from the track to be able to find a parking spot. And then it's just a long day. It's usually hot, so it's hard to bring kids to. So it was tough to find a babysitter a lot of times to be able to do. So unfortunately, we only got to go to the actual race a couple times. But the whole month of May, they do a lot of practices, and then there's qualifications and stuff. So there's a lot of cool times to go out there still, even in spite of the race.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And one thing, like you said, one thing she talked about aside from wrestling and her family was enjoying the races. And I hadn't seen that video before. So again, man, thank you so much for.
It was definitely emotional out there on Sunday without her, but me and Logan had a good time.
Yeah. I was definitely going to ask, if you two had a good time, and I know it was, I like you said, I know it was very emotional for you, but yeah. So, man, thank you again for sharing that with us. And
no problem. It's also one of the only videos that I have, at least that I've found so far, of her using her British accent. So I like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say she was using that British accent. So yeah, that was awesome stuff, man. Well, I want to welcome in the other part of our show, guys, which is everyone in the chat. Thank all of you so much for being here. We have a lot of people, otherwise I'd go name for name, but we'd be here for a little bit longer if we did that. So I just know we greatly appreciate every single one of you for being here. I will say that this evening we do not have artwork that we're showing, but here's what I'm going to say. I'm gonna send out a challenge. Please send artwork to us.
Yes.
We haven't gotten any sent to us. So please send those pieces of art our way. You can send it to our Gmail. Or you can DM Chris, or you can DM the Insiders or Joe on X. Or if you want to hit me up, I'm not on X, but I'm on Instagram. And for those of you who are friends with me on Facebook, you can send them there too. But yeah, I'm gonna put Chris's X Twitter. I'm just gonna call it Twitter. I ain't calling it X.
Call it Twitter. I still
dang it. Send that's Chris.
Or if you some of us are in groups and stuff of people sharing that kind of stuff, or you even see something that's not yours and you think's cool, send it our way.
That's right. So yeah, definitely send it our way. That's we want to showcase the art. So send it our way, because there's no way that we can get to everything that's out there. So if you can help us out with that, we greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, and everyone in chat, we're gonna get to some theories and discussion. What do you say? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. So last night we were kind of wondering in terms of what we were going to get next, what types of videos we were going to get next. So I want to start here, guys. What are your thoughts on the way that Abby was introduced? What are your thoughts on how the video was done last night? And we'll start with Chris.
I was a little disappointed to see. I was kind of expecting how are they going to deliver the tape this week, since we saw a different way last week via the Pat McAfee show. I was kind of hoping to see a different way to get the tape, but they kind of just skipped over it. But at least the tape we got was good, and that was like some horror stuff right there.
Yeah. Joe, immediately when I got these pictures, I said, I wonder what Joe.
Yeah, I was wondering what Joe thought of that. At least she wasn't upside down.
Yeah, I was as soon as I heard that they got that from they mentioned, I think the way Cole referred to it was from the witch that keeps bringing us the tapes. So I'm like, oh boy. And then, you know, when I saw it start and all the different images and stuff of her and all that, and then you got the close-ups of the face, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be terrifying more than likely, because and then she's not speaking, which I know was a contention point for some people, because obviously Howdy was asking her things or talking to her, but there was never a reply. You just heard her. I mean, there was a jump scare in there too, which was absolutely terrifying. She just screamed out of nowhere too. So yeah, like it's listen, I get it. I understand people's concerns about it, that, well, why isn't she speaking like the other ones are? You know, if everybody else is being kind of human, she's obviously not. But this goes back to what we had mentioned about this last week, right? Where I kind of wanted her to be the supernatural part of it. I don't need her to be talking necessarily. I don't need her to be, you know, whenever she does get in the ring and stuff, I don't need her to be. She could end up being like a Dexter Lumis used to be in the ring, where she doesn't say a damn thing. And I'm fine with that. That keeps the mystery of it all. There was almost a backward shot right there. I was getting a little nervous in that one. I was getting a little nervous when I saw that one, I'll be honest. I saw her leaning back. I'm like, oh, no, here it comes. But I'm okay with her being that way. Of all the people in this group, I'm okay with not hearing from. It's her and Lumis, because Lumis we never heard from anyway before. So I'm okay with that if neither one of them say anything. And I think this is really all we're getting from Nikki. I don't think they want to go past that, the whole the persona of the witch, of Abby, and whatever they want it to be. And I'm good with it. I don't care that if there is a supernatural part of this group, it should be her. And I'm perfectly fine with it. But she looked terrifying. All the different faces with the, you know, that reminded me of Rosemary. As soon as I saw her in that picture, I'm like, damn, she looks like Rosemary from TNA. A lot of others said that too. But yeah, I mean, the white makeup with the red, I don't know how she's going to appear in the ring when she does. But you know, she's going to lift that mask off. She might wear different faces. Maybe she'll have the red lipstick one week. Maybe it'll be all black face paint and white face paint one week. You might just get different versions of her. And like I said, I'm all right with it, so long as she never spider walks and she just absolutely terrifies me at some point. But yeah, I'm all right with it. But yeah, the jump scare at the end, that's kind of scared the crap out of me.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask too, and Joe, I'll start with you and then we'll go back over to Chris. But what were your thoughts on some of the details, the mask, the makeup, all of that? You know, I know we mentioned that a little bit earlier, but now we're getting those close-ups in this video. So what did you think about some of the details that you saw?
Many different faces. Like I said, you could see, you know, that the most human one maybe was the one with the red lipstick. You know, but just I don't know. Do you call it the many faces of Abby? I don't know. Like when Bray used to speak about her, obviously she died. You know, she was burned in a fire. So we could see something like that, like just some, you know, gross looking kind of, she could have something like that with her face at some point. She is going to be the scariest one of the group. That's for sure. She's going to be, she may be out there with them, whoever ends up wrestling. So let's say it's, you know, I don't know. Let's say we do get a tag team match at some point with Gacy and with Lumis at some point. I think she'll be out there. She, I think, is the guiding force of the group. She'll wrestle at some point. But man, yeah, I loved what they did. I thought they made her, to me, I think this was the perfect way to do it with her. The makeup was terrifying. The different wigs, the different looks, the different faces. I thought it was great. And like I said, I'm okay with, I know that people, oh, well, why didn't she say anything? I don't get that. Why did the others talk and she didn't? I'm perfectly fine without her doing that. But I loved it. I love the way she looks. She looks insane, man. The white and then the red makeup almost made her like a doll face kind of thing, like the strangers masks. But yeah, I liked it, Jeff. I thought it was good.
Yeah, especially like in this first picture here.
Yeah, that's just insane.
Yeah.
Like the red, like almost looks like she missed her lip. like down on the bottom, she just looks like she just grabbed lipstick and just went all around their mouth with it. And then the black eyes. Yeah, that's terrifying, man. That's just terrifying.
Yeah, and I do want to get to this comment, Chris, before I get your thoughts. Deanna saying, I do love the fact that they told a story without her saying a word. Wait,
Yes.
didn't Randy burn her ashes?
Oh, he did.
So,
yeah, they may not be done with good old Randy Orton.
I hope not. He definitely deserved something.
yeah. All right, Chris. So, what were your thoughts on the many faces of Nikki, aka Abby?
I agree with Joe. I loved it, and I love that they, there's some mystery to it. I agree. I don't not bothered at all that she didn't talk. It still told the story, and you can see the pain and the way she was, she was just struggling. Like, you could see there's stuff going on in her head with all this, and and it ties well into what the stuff they did for months and months before this, with her just kind of wandering around aimlessly backstage and stuff. They've done a really good job with all that. And as far as the faces go, I loved it. It was terrifying. I think it would be awesome if every time she came out to a match or whatever, she looked different. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah,
Absolutely, man. And Chris, to your point that you brought up earlier about the delivery of the tape, I agree. I think because we got that taste of them doing something different, it's like, okay, there are multiple ways you can do this now.
Yeah. I was like, what are they going to do tonight?
Yeah. So I
hope they go back to that next week.
Yeah, I hope so.
Jeff, I think this could have been a good time for them to do something a little bit NWO style. To have her back in the truck. And so, they always say we got to take the tape out to the truck. We'll have her, sneak back into that truck and either you see like the people in the truck on the floor, whereas like she took them out and then she's in control and she's putting the tape in and playing her own tape. I think that would have been kind of neat. And I think that would have satisfied a lot of people seeing that, like, oh my God. And then you could see Cole, like, we didn't get a tape this month. And then all of a sudden you see something, something's going on in the back. We got to cut to the truck. You like those old NWO promos, whatever. And then you see her inside the truck and the men that are working back there, like face down on the floor. And you could even see the other members on the outside of the truck and then her in there. And then you just see her like looking in the camera as she's putting the tape into the VCR. That would have been cool.
Either that or they could have done a jump scare out of it. And you see the guy back there and like, she sneaks up behind him with the tape and turns around and she's right there.
That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. But I guess my next question here is, who do you think's next? I honestly thought that she would have been last.
I thought so too.
Yeah. But who do you think might be next, Chris?
I don't know. It's that really threw us for a loop. I feel like I kind of thought we might have, we had a little bit more of an idea of the order. I don't know. I'm guessing maybe Gacy, because if Loomis isn't going to talk either, we may or may not, we don't know. I wouldn't think they would do two back to back that don't talk, if that's the case. But maybe he is next and he will talk. So I don't know. I would say Gacy though, just in case Loomis isn't going to talk.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's going to really depend on whether Dexter is going to speak, if we're going to hear him say anything. If not, I think the most logical one would probably be Gacy, because now since you had someone who isn't obviously speaking, then you split them up. You have Gacy come on, have him talk. He would be the better one to talk, I think, because he's kind of more like the cult leader Bray kind of persona, where he would be the one to jabber and talk. So I would kind of think that, it would make sense that he would be the next one. I think it's going to put to rest, though, a lot of people's theories about, everybody was theorizing that we were going to get some sort of tag match. I don't know that that's going to happen at SummerSlam anymore. I'm thinking that this is just going to be Bray. I'm sorry. Yeah. Bray. Bo. Yeah. I keep thinking of, he looks so much like him. Oh my gosh, man. Like, but I think it's going to just be Bo against Gable at SummerSlam. Now, whether or not the others get involved, I'm sure they will. But I think that's what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a tag match anymore. I think a tag match, you're not really going like the way Bray was going, because Bray didn't do a tag match when he had first come back last time. And also, as the Fiend, he didn't, he was one-on-one against Finn Balor. So I think the first match back is going to be a one-on-one. Now, like I said, they're all going to interfere at some point. The Creed brothers are going to interfere. When they do, the Wyatt Sicks are going to interfere. And then maybe down the road, maybe they'll even save that to more towards Survivor Series or something with the groups fighting, when that's more of a pay-per-view that's dedicated to that. But I think it's just going to be Bray and Bo and Chad. I'm not going to stop saying that. I saw him do the Sister Abigail, and he looked just like Bray. But I think it's going to be the two of them. I think it's going to be a 2-on-2 at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Okay. And Joe, just to clarify for Clown here, he's saying if she takes out the production crew mid-show, how would the show go on? You're not saying take out the crew, just scare the crap out of them, right? That's basically.
Even if they took out the crew like the NWO did, the cameras were still there. You just gotta know this is wrestling, man.
Get up and go back to the truck and start making stuff happen.
Yeah, man. You just gotta believe in the wrestling, man. They'll have ways to keep the production team there and keep the cameras rolling. So
suspend your disbelief a little. When dealing with stuff. Yeah. Blue Chew says, I want Danhausen to be a part of this so bad it's killing me. What's up, Blue Chew? And I want to say this before we move on, because I never remember to do this in this show. If you're here right now, thank you all for being here. Please drop a like on the video if you're watching from YouTube. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We would greatly appreciate that. We have this show every Tuesday, 6 o'clock. So come join us and drop some theories and let's chat about it. So yeah, I think I will say that I was a little bit terrified. I love horror movies, but it's just something like with demonic possession and that kind of thing that I don't watch a whole lot. So, but yeah, this is a shot right here that got me too. I don't know if anyone has ever seen the movie, the Poughkeepsie tapes, or if you've seen like the cover art for it. And I wish I would have gotten that in here too, to just kind of, give you a comparison of the two. But this made me think of that, and that movie terrified the crap out of me. So, yeah. So thanks a lot, Wyatt Sicks and Rob Fee and everyone else involved.
That looks even. I mean, there's so many movies you can look at that with The Witch, the Blair Witch. Like they all have that where the white, but that it even looks like, I don't know if that's in the front of her. It almost looks like it's wire. Like it doesn't look like hair.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. If you look at the two, it's wow.
That doesn't even look like her hair there. It almost looks like she has like wire or barbed wire running down her face. That's terrifying, dude. Like any kind of ghost, witch or possessed person, woman that you see is always going to look this way, white faced, black eyes. I just have to say, I'm glad she wasn't wearing white contacts. That would have put me over the top. So, yep.
Yeah. And Chris, thank you for showing that, man. Because you can see the similarities there.
Definitely.
It's wild. Yeah, it's wild. Alicia saying, would you like to see Finn Balor's demon in the Wyatt Sicks? Maybe if they ever expand, would you like to see the demon in there, Chris?
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
especially because just recently Finn said that he wants to save the demon as a face. So it could fit.
What do you think, Joe?
The way it looks like they're going with him is it looks like they're all going to turn on Priest, obviously. It seems like there's something up with him, like that he's doing background stuff behind the scenes of everybody. And I'd be shocked if this whole thing with Dom and everybody is in a ruse and they end up turning on Rhea. That's what's going to happen, I feel. I think Liv and Dom are in cahoots with this, and they're working together. And I think they're going to cost Rhea that match. But I don't know. I don't know if Finn's going to be quite done yet with this whole thing, because who knows? Like, who knows what may happen with him? It'd be cool to see him involved. Obviously, the demon persona comes back and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. Like, if he is now aligned with Liv, like whether or not they're going to just make a new Judgment Day where it's going to be him and Liv and Dom and the other guys. And maybe that's how they're going to continue. And Damien's going to be on the outside looking in. If they do that, then who knows? Maybe they war against the Six someday. And maybe you could see Liv going up against, maybe Liv's going to go up against, the whatever you want to call her, Nikki, the bride, or Abby, however you want to call her. Maybe that'll be a feud. So I don't know. It would be cool.
Match right there, just those two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be tremendous. I'd be on board for that.
Mm-hmm.
Keenan saying the blend between Uncle Howdy and Bo Dallas is day and night. Reminds me of Funhouse Bray and the Fiend. What do you think about that comparison? I think that's a good comparison. What do you think, Joe? And then we'll get Chris's thoughts.
I like the blue mask. How he has that. Obviously, you can wrestle, I think, with that mask. At least it looks like he can. Where he may not have to take that top part off. Because it does, like, the Fiend's mask was, I think, restricting, and Bray had mentioned that, how it was difficult, especially the burn Fiend, when he said it was nearly impossible for him to turn his head. So I think Bo is going to be able to wrestle with that particular mask. And by the way, WWE shop, I'm sure will have a version of that mask out sooner than later. But yeah, I like it, because now, see, you know what I didn't realize is, so when Bray came out with that mask on, when we first saw him return, with the almost like looked like the black phone mask. When he came out with that, I wasn't aware, and now they're referring to that mask as Uncle Howdy. I didn't know that was supposed to be. Oh, now Marley's feisty. I didn't know that Uncle Howdy was that was his mask. So yeah, I wasn't aware of that. But now that you can see that, and obviously this is a lot less restricting. So yeah, so I think it's cool.
Didn't Bray have a promo during that run there with LA Knight where he said, "I am Uncle Howdy"? That seems familiar to me.
I think that's right, Chris. I think I remember.
Sticking in my head. I think maybe, I'm sure we were gonna probably find out more about that, the relationship between him and Howdy.
Yeah. So Chris, I got to ask you this question, man. At what point did you know that Chad Gable and the Creed brothers messed up? Other than the fans letting them know.
Yeah.
But when did you know that this was going to happen? At what point, when he was in with Otis and Tozawa and
when they started attacking Otis and he told him, "Get them, boys," or whatever he said, I'm like, "Oh, yep, you done messed up now." I was wanting the crowd to, I appreciate their gestures, but I was wanting them to stop because it got muted. I'm like, I want to hear this. I know you want to yell that he effed up, but until we get on Netflix, we gotta watch it. Yeah,
and which I found interesting, because last week they didn't censor it.
Yeah, I know. You could
tried.
You could hear it really clear. They were a little louder this week, it sounded like, though.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's why.
Yeah, they definitely tried, but maybe like Heather brought up last week, maybe there was a little bit of a fine assessed.
Yeah, there could be. Going back to what we were just talking about, I noticed something last night I wanted to bring up, talking about the relationship between Bo and Howdy. It seemed to me in the tape last night that the voice sounded more like Bo than it has been. It still had that distortion, but it didn't sound totally like it has. I thought it sounded different last night, and I could hear it, and I could tell that was Bo's voice, whereas the previous tapes, I didn't feel like I could tell so much that was Bo's voice. Did you get that too?
I got that too, and I was actually going to ask you, do you think that as we get more tapes, we get more of the reveal, so to speak?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It sure seems that way now with that happening last night, that we're seeing more of that. They're one and the same, and he's Howdy's a part of him no matter what, no matter even if he's not present. It seems like.
RM saying Howdy might be Bo's second personality created so Bo can feel closer to Bray.
I like that.
I like that. I really like that. And he also thinks that Bliss is the person asking everyone questions in the tape. I hadn't heard that. That's interesting. That's an interesting thought. Joe, what do you guys think about that? We'll start with you, Joe, and then we'll go to Chris.
I know so many people love Alexa. I do. I just don't think she's part of this. I really just don't. Doesn't mean that she won't be at some point in time. And I know so many people still want to see that, but I just don't think she's going to be a part of it. I think that she might even be, and I think we talked about this on the show, I think she's going to be the one that maybe Nikki goes after. And because again, they're looking for people who quote unquote betrayed their family. Right. So we already have Braun Strowman, who is not choosing to be with them. So obviously they could look at that as he betrayed the family. So they could then go after Braun Strowman at some point. Braun doesn't really have much going on. He's kind of in a side little feud with somebody. So that could be something that might be there. And then I think Alexa could be too. Her and Uncle Howdy never saw eye to eye. Uncle Howdy was always trying to recruit her, trying to get her, and she didn't want any part of that. So I think that Howdy would look at her not as an ally, but an enemy, because she rejected him. So I think that could be, and we saw many feuds with Nikki and Alexa, and I think that that's the case. I really do not think Alexa is joining that group, at least not right off the bat. Maybe somewhere down the road. But again, guys, remember this too. Go back to the WrestleMania that everybody seems to want to forget. We didn't necessarily like the outcome of it because Bray lost, the Fiend lost in that Mania, and that's what led to him leaving. So nobody really thinks about that. But remember, Alexa betrayed him. Alexa was the one who cost him that match. So I don't know that they'd be all that happy with her and just invite her in with open arms. And we don't know what Howdy's intentions were with her. We don't know if Howdy was pissed at her and was trying to go after her, get in her head a little bit. We don't know. But I know she has so many fans, and rightly so. She's a very good wrestler, and a lot of people just love her. But I don't think she's going to be involved with this. I really just don't.
Yeah, I agree. The story can't make sense that they're telling with her being involved. She at least until she's been dealt with for the past. She has to be for any of this to make sense. Yeah, that has to be dealt with. Yeah, like you said, maybe down the road after that she could turn back or whatever and join them down the road. But she has to at least be an enemy at some point if they're even going to have her involved at all. Maybe she comes back and she's regular little Miss Bliss like she was before, and she's never involved. So that could be a case too. But at the very least, for her to be involved in this at all, she has to be dealt with first. And you brought up Braun Strowman. That's an interesting thing too. Did you guys see that? I guess he did an interview or something recently, and I saw he said something about the Wyatt Sicks is calling towards him or something like that.
Yep.
Trying to bring out the darkness in him. So I thought that was interesting. Maybe they're playing that up so that he may join him down the road. Yeah,
I could see it. I could see it. Maybe it depends how far they want to go with it. I could see it. So yeah. I mean,
he didn't want to become that person again, but that might bring it out of him.
Yeah.
I think that Braun and Alexa will have to atone for a few things before they are a part of it. Just my opinion, in which I think aligns with Chris and Joe here. All right, so Joe, while you were gone, I asked Chris this question. At what point did you know that Chad Gable and the Creed brothers had messed up, or as the crowd chanted a lot, they effed up? When did you realize that?
Oh, probably when they stepped into the ring. I mean,
when they showed up for Raw,
when they showed up, when they got out of their cars or whatever it was, stepped off the plane. I mean, look, they messed up when they attacked Bo. That was it. When they went after him, that was probably one of the dumbest things they could have done. I know the Creed brothers are like guns for hire. I hope Chad paid them well. I hope they are getting enough money to deserve what's going to happen to them, because they're on the wrong side of things. And you knew that wasn't going to be left laying, unless they were both laid out at some point. And, so yeah, they were doomed from the start. And Chad Gable, well, I guess, I don't know whether you credit him with guts or stupidity, but, Chad, I guess, even stepping in that ring tonight, or last night rather, to me, I guess took guts or was just dumb. I don't know which, but, he had to know, and everybody was just waiting for the lights to go off. And then, of course, the crowd's chanting "You effed up" was hilarious. But yeah, they were doomed from the start. So yeah, it's definitely going to be. I mean, there's Chad Gable. He was a step away from winning a Money in the Bank, and now he's going to be buried by Bo Dallas at an upcoming pay-per-view. So see how quickly things can change in wrestling, man.
Yeah, they can quickly change for sure. So Joe, you kind of alluded to this earlier. I'll have you kind of finish out the thought and then go back to Chris here. But you kind of answered this. Will it be a one-on-one match between Gable and Howdy, or do you think the factions will be involved? You kind of answered that, but if you could give a little bit more on that, and then we'll go to Chris.
I think so. I think it'll be a singles match now. Just simply because, I think if you would have seen if you're going to see a 6-man tag, I think all the men would have been in that ring, I think. But the fact that it was only Bo and Chad and stuff, I think the others are, and who knows, maybe the others will be outside or be allowed outside the ring when it happens. But I think this is personal between Chad and Bo at this point. I mean, he called them out. Obviously he had his hired guns there to help him, but I think it's going to be a singles match. I don't personally think, and this may be just me, tag team matches are okay. I love tag team wrestling, but 3-on-3 matches to me don't bring the fire, so to speak, that a singles match would, I think. I think you'd rather see the two of them battle as singles competitors, and then maybe later on, when it looks like Bo is taking advantage of Gable, that they'll come out when it looks like he's about done, when he's maybe going to take a Sister Abigail. Then you'll see them run into the ring, and then that's when I think the Wyatt Sicks will come in, and then maybe that leads to something else down the road. I would much rather see Gable going up against Bo singly, and seeing that. But listen, I wouldn't even care if it was a semi-squash, because that's the way we saw the Fiend start. Was just a complete squash of Finn Balor, and I wouldn't even care if this was just an all-out squash of Chad Gable in this one. So I would rather personally see a one-on-one match at SummerSlam. So yeah,
Chris. I agree. I think the way they set that up, it definitely seems like that's what it's going to be, is more of a one-on-one match. I could see, I'm sure the Creeds will come out to the ring with them during that match, and they may even try and get involved, but I'm sure that the Wyatt Sicks will probably show up and put a stop to that, and that might be what sets up a 6-man down the road or whatever. But yeah, I think that if I'm a little worried about it. Yeah, I hope that this will be a SummerSlam match. I saw they've already announced 7 matches so far without this one even on there. So I'm hoping there's still going to be room on the card for this. But yeah, I think if there is one, it'll be a singles match.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
They do have one more Raw yet, so they can still promote it from there. I can't see how they leave this off the card at this point.
Yeah,
and they said the SummerSlam card is going to be very, very long. They said it's going to be a really long show, like WrestleMania long show. So this you could be looking almost back. I don't know that it'll go 4 hours, or AEW time. But I could see this going from, I mean, maybe even if they have a pre-show match, maybe it will even go from 7 to 11 or 7 to 11:30. I could see this one going long. And it's going to be the last of their long ones, and then they're going to go to 2-day. So I would be surprised if this doesn't happen. Now, who knows? Yeah. Maybe they'll say it's going to happen on Raw. Maybe it'll happen on this coming Monday's Raw to kind of get people excited. I don't know, but I'd be surprised. I'd be really surprised if there wasn't.
Yeah. And like you said, we've got one more week, so we may get, we might get the announcement, I would assume, next Monday night. If we don't get something on social media, which we mentioned before, how, the usage of social media and all of this has been pretty clever too.
For sure.
And I gotta say this too. Every time I see them and their entrance, I get chills. I just love seeing all of them and, kind of turning their heads like you see the horror characters do, and real slow and methodical. They're not rushing down to get you. They're gonna pull a Michael Myers and just walk you down. They're not gonna run after you. They'll just be there when you turn around.
Yeah. I heard somebody complaining about this. Actually, I'll even say Bully Ray was complaining about it, saying that they shouldn't be walking out of Gorilla, saying that they should come from other directions, come from somewhere else in the arena because of the time that you saw them slaughter everybody back in Gorilla. So to kind of play along with that they shouldn't come out of there just nonchalantly now after they did that. But I don't know. I think that's nitpicky. I mean, where are they going to come out of? All right, of every single arena, you're going to have them come out from all 4 different spots of the arena. It would take them half an hour just to get to the front. So I don't know. I think that's a little nitpicky. I love it. I like the whole thing. Listen, this whole thing is based on, and people probably should know this, a tribute to Bray. And that's what it is. Everything they're doing is a tribute to Bray. The way the lights go off, the way the fireflies come up, the darkness, the noise, all of that stuff is Bray stuff. They're just tributizing Bray. And when Bray came out, he had the lights on like this. He came out with a lantern every single time. It's very similar to that, and that's what it is. Sure, can there be things that maybe need to be changed? Who knows? But I'm not complaining. I love all of this. Like Jeff was pointing out, the way they look when they come out is just pretty damn creepy. And the silhouettes of the masks and stuff, I love it.
Yeah, I was going to mention this too, because somebody in the Firefly Funhouse fan group on Facebook posted the thing Bully Ray said, and there was a big discussion happened between people about this, and I was talking several people about it on this side of it, that I like this. And the thing about it, I pointed out the big problem I see with, there were several people were like, same thing, they should come out from the crowd. Or I was like, that presents a lot of problems though, because think about it. There's a lot of stairs in the crowd. It's very narrow, trying to walk between people and stuff. I'm sure those very limited visibility in those masks anyway, trying to navigate through a crowd. Then they would have to have some kind of a spotlight on them to even be seen on TV or anything. So that just, none of that adds up to me to being better than what they're doing.
Right. 100%. Yep. 100%. There's all kinds of little obstacles. And look, this is going to be, no matter when you have a horror character that isn't the Undertaker, this is going to be a point of contention with all these so-called wrestling critics and all the people that are out there. And even though that, maybe when they're watching it, they actually enjoy it. But then on the other hand, that, then they have to kind of nitpick it a little bit on their shows, because that just gets more views, I think, and clicks. So whatever, it is what it is. You either enjoy this kind of thing or you don't. And if you don't, it's perfectly cool. There's some people that are out there that are not horror fans, that don't necessarily like supernatural stuff. They don't like horror, and so they stay away from it. So if that's the case, then this is probably not for you. But I don't know. To me, I think everything they're doing is perfectly fine. I'm not seeing anything that's wrong. If I did, I would say something, but I'm not seeing anything about it that I don't like so far.
Yeah. And, again, like you said, I mean, people are going to have their opinions, and everyone's entitled to them. And that's,
sure.
that's what makes it fun. You know, we can all have these discussions and talk about what works and what doesn't work. But I think it's important to realize that, you know, there are going to be people who really love this. And, you know, if there's something that you really love, that's okay. But hopefully people don't do to you what a lot of those people do to others who like this, you know, and
Yeah.
that's my only bit of advice.
And I just think it's reaching a bit. Like, not every single fine little detail needs an explanation, in my opinion.
No. I mean, I don't think we ask for those types of things on television series that we watch. Maybe some people do, but those are probably the same people that, you know, that we're discussing right now.
Yeah.
But you know, we don't ask for some of those things at times. It just automatically happens that way. I mean, I was watching a show or a movie the other day with the kids, and it was like the person just so happened to be driving by this one character, and I'm like, okay, I can be critical of that, but it's a movie, it's entertainment. Like, I'm meant to enjoy it.
Yeah.
If I want to like be that critical of something, I'll, like, I don't know, I'll take another class or do something like that. Maybe I don't need to look at it with such a critical eye because I'm being entertained. I mean, for the most part, you want things to make sense. You want things to add up, but there are going to be times where things are just a coincidence or a convenience or whatever it is. And
yeah, like I don't think about what's behind the stage and the set, that Gorilla's back there. Right? You see the light and the smoke and stuff. It just looks like they're coming out of the light.
Yeah. Look, this is wrestling. When we watch wrestling, we have to suspend our disbelief. That's just what I mean, this is it's like Jeff mentioned. It's like watching a movie, right? Like, you go back to the original Halloween, one of my all-time favorite films, okay? One of the parts in there, Michael Myers drives a car. Well, he couldn't have driven. There's no way he would have learned. He was in an institution since he was 5. So there's no way. So what is that? Somebody, you know, when you think about that, well, what did Dr. Loomis teach him how to drive in there? Like, you know, so, you know, little things like this are nitpicky. And, you know, even with, you know, all of these guys, I so many of these guys love The Undertaker, right? They loved him. They adored him. But yet so much of The Undertaker stuff that he did was suspending disbelief as well. I mean, come on. Burying someone alive, hanging someone from a cross above a stage, you know, having burned caskets and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that was all suspending of disbelief. So I don't understand that. Like,
when Undertaker was in the casket and then he appeared on top of the big screen. Like that was years ago. Like, he never explained how he teleported out of the casket and ended up on the top of the screen.
When he would snap his fingers and the lightning bolts would appear, and then he would poof out of there and he'd be gone, and then it'd be like Chris said, he'd be somewhere else. This is all suspending disbelief. This is what you do in wrestling. This is what makes wrestling more fun, is when you suspend disbelief. Sure, listen, there's people out there who just like the wrestling, and that's fine. But then if that's the case, more than likely, this is probably not for you. And so, you know, you pay attention to the other segments. But yeah, the wrestling is all about, like, we compare it to movies all the time. It's like watching a movie, and that's really what it is. You know, that's what they're doing. They're great athletes who can accomplish this and make it look like they're doing something that they're necessarily not. So it's suspension of disbelief. So yeah, whatever. I knew it was going to happen. It only took a couple of weeks for it to start happening, and it is what it is. We all enjoy it. You guys all enjoy it. That's the reason why you're here. And so, yeah, it is what it is. I think that's just kind of silly.
Yeah. So, all right, we got this, and I felt like this was going to happen. Like when the rest of the group came out, and I didn't see Howdy, I was like, okay, Chad is really.
So where's Howdy? I thought he's going to come up behind Chad.
So, you know, Chad didn't know here, but then he had that oh crap moment. You know what I'm talking about. Some of my former coaches would refer to this as the pucker factor. And I'll let you determine which part of the anatomy puckered. But Chris, what did you think of this moment? And then I got to get here too. What did you think about that?
Oh, it was just so good. I cried a little bit. I'm gonna admit it. Like it's just so amazing to see that again. It's one of those things we never know if we would ever see anybody do a Sister Abigail again. We didn't know. It was cool to hear Cole say it again. And then I just love all the little details. I love the little red braid in there as a tribute to Bray, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, Joe, what did you think, man? I gotta hear your thoughts, man.
I loved Cole's dramatic pause.
Yeah,
there was silence, nothing from Cole, and then all of a sudden you just hear him go, "Sister Abigail," like just out of nowhere. Yeah, I mean, you had to know all of these things that we're going to see. Bo is probably going to. If you notice too, he did this fairly methodically, like a little bit slower than maybe Bray normally would have done it, and I think that's on purpose. Everything he's doing, including the dreads attached to this mask, and that feeling you could see elated on his face, he had to be looking up at Bray. He had to be.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that, that Sister Abigail was not, like you said, Chris, is not going to be the last time it's ever going to be used. Knowing that his brother is watching him now do this in his memory with all the fireflies surrounding him and stuff. That had to be a tremendous feeling for Bo.
That had to be such an emotional moment for him too.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I have no doubt that he had tears in his eyes when he did it. And of course, when he gave the kiss to Chad like Bray did and all that stuff. Yeah, it was just a beautiful thing and really, really cool to see him do. And I'm sure that won't be the last of it. We'll see that every time he wrestles a match at some point. So I think Bo will interject some of his own into it. I do. I don't think he's gonna I know people might be wondering, well, is he just gonna copy all of Bray's moves? I don't think so. This one is special because this is what we know him for. But I think Bo will wrestle his own style. I think he'll have some of his own like devastating kind of moves, like we used to see. What was the one that Bray would hit? I'm trying to remember the first match with the Fiend where he hit a move and we really never see him do it before. Oh man, I can't. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
Was it the neck?
The neck breaker. Yes. Yeah. Like I think that Bo might come up with something of his own that's like a devastating move like that. But this finisher is always going to be special to the group and to Bo. And it was just a really beautiful moment. I really love how now. I mean, we used to have them bathed in red light when it was the Fiend. I really love how the people don't shut off their lights. They don't shut off their lights even during the match. Those lights from those phones are on the entire time.
Yeah.
And I kind of like how they bathe the ring in darkness a little bit. I'd be okay if they. I don't know if the wrestlers could do it because it'd probably be very hard to see. But I think that'd be kind of cool, even if you had like something going on, maybe a little bit of mist and smoke and stuff around the ring. But yeah, it was fantastic.
That was another thing too. Is I think we saw it. I know at least twice before. With Howdy give a Sister Abigail. I know he gave one to Bray at one point, and then he gave one, I think it was one of the guys in Hit Row, I want to say. He gave him one of them a Sister Abigail too. So we had seen him use that move before. So at least there was some continuity there too anyway, that he had done that move before.
Yeah. And I love Howdy's mask. Like I said, I love the blue. It does look like if he wants to, he could wrestle in that. I don't know if he will. He might just take the mask and the dreads off when he's actually wrestling, and it could just be him. And maybe he'll have his eyes blacked or something because he was wearing the mask. So it could just be him. But it does look like that's easier to maneuver. Looks like it's less heavy than the green one. Looks like it's a little easier to breathe in and stuff. He has his mouth and beard and stuff exposed there. So yeah, I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, and then someone noticed too that the blue contacts, he had the blue contacts back.
Yeah, he did.
So that was cool too. And then we obviously see the rest of the Wyatt Sicks looking on. I thought this was such a cool shot, man. This is like, again, we, like Joe said, we bring up movies a lot, because this is honestly like weekly episodes of a movie playing out. And to see them be able to pull this off, I think is just amazing. And I'm not that I ever want to think about the pandemic era again for many reasons, but could you imagine some of the camera tricks and kind of backstage stuff and some of those things that could have been done? And I think that we still may get some of that. We obviously are getting, a lot of the video packages and the different things there, but I kind of want to see Netflix take this group and create a freaking series.
I hung out with a friend of mine last night that I hadn't in a couple weeks, and he doesn't regularly watch wrestling or anything, but he's always thought the Bray stuff was really cool. I've always showed him stuff that happened on it and thought that was neat. So I showed him the last couple weeks of stuff that's happened last night, and that was actually a comment he made. He loved the stuff they did during the pandemic, the more like pre-film stuff and cinematic stuff like that. And he brought up that he thought this reminded him a lot of that, and he'd like to see them do more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, look, Netflix. I think everything is off the. I think anything could be on the table. I love how they patterned all these masks the way that they did. I mean, yes, Jason Baker is a genius in what he does, but making those puppets into, I remember, I think we even saw some of Kyle Scarborough's early designs for when they were looking to make the puppets. But the way that this came out, like, oh my God, like the Gacy one, very Friday the 13th-esque with the flannel and the whole head mask. It reminds me of the part 2 Friday 13th, where he just had the one eye cut out of the sack over his head. Rowan just, with that half wolf and half rabbit head, and the fact that he's just so big. That's just creepy as all get out. The buzzard too, when you see that from the front, it almost looks like the Predator. He almost looks like that mask has like Predator look to it, and with the dreads and stuff like that. And the Predator had a similar mask, and you all know my thoughts on Nikki. It's just creepy.
I love Rowan. Like you said, seeing him back there, big and intimidating behind him and stuff. It gives me a lot of vibes for Donnie Darko.
Yeah, with the creepy bunny. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And it's just something about seeing a dude that big with wearing that. It just, I'm creeped out. And
the fact that he has a big old mallet that says "help" on it.
It's like, who are you helping with that, sir? You're not All right, so we're gonna kind of wrap up here, but I want to start with Joe here and just get what you think is next, and then your final thoughts.
They just keep wowing me with everything. I really can't complain about anything at all. It's a slow burn. I know people maybe are getting a little bit antsy and they want to see it in the ring. Look, if they do decide to, people in chat mentioned maybe they won't have the match. Maybe they'll just keep letting this play out a little bit on Raw. Because I think some people had said, in the past, the critics of it have said, well, maybe this kind of stuff doesn't belong on a pay-per-view. Maybe they should just let this on a weekly episode. And I'm okay with that. If they decide to do this on Monday Night Raw, and that's how they want to let it play out for the first little bit, I'm good with that too. But then again, I think you're missing out on ticket sales if you do that, because I know a lot of people come just to see them. But that's fine. I listen, I like the slow burn. I'm fine with it. I like how they're doing the little character vid still. We still have 2 more to see, and stuff like that. I like how they steeped it in a little bit of reality when we saw Bo in the back room and stuff like that. So they're going back and forth, and it's got the little bit there of the humanity versus reality. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not seeing anything so far that I don't like. I'm intrigued. I'm excited to watch. And stuff like that. And look, it's going to bring people back to watch Raw every single week.
Yeah. Chris,
I think they couldn't be doing a better job with the pacing. I was talking to my friend last night about it. I just absolutely love it. I think it's been the perfect pace. They're not overdoing it. They're not going anything too fast like things have been done before. It's just a nice slow pace, and we're seeing it, pick up in some ways. Like we went from just getting a videotape to now we're getting a videotape and some kind of real interaction. And then like last week, they pushed it a little further. We actually saw him do something in the ring. It's just every week we're getting just a little more, a little more, a little more. It just makes you want to keep coming back. So it's perfect.
Yeah, I
100%
agree. Yeah, just a lot of exciting stuff going on. And if you're a fan of this, I mean, I think all of us are enjoying the ride right now.
Oh, yes.
I think we all are. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So guys, another great discussion. Always enjoy doing this. Thank all of you in the chat for your participation and your theories and discussion out there. Again, please send us some artwork. We would greatly appreciate it. We'll be back here on Thursday for TNA Wrestling, the follow-up to Slammiversary. And if you haven't seen it yet, you got a couple days to watch before Thursday blows your mind. So come check it out with us, because there's a lot that happened.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of follow-up from that show and a lot of crazy stuff that happened on there and things you wouldn't expect and stuff. So if you missed it, I'd say go watch it. You may be able to get it for a discounted cost, but it was absolutely a must-see if you're a TNA fan. So, yep.
And if you are in or around the capital region, there was a major announcement made today. August 9th, Joe Hendry will be at Heroes Hideout for a meet and greet.
I'm so jealous. Jeff's going to get to meet Joe Hendry. Oh my God.
Listen, I know I'm getting 2 autographed photos when I go for two guys, the 2 guys that are on this screen right now. I'm getting some autographed photos. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do the VIP thing. There's only like 20 tickets or 25 tickets, so hopefully I can be one of those folks. But yeah, so I plan on getting a few autographed photos, and because I know some people believe in Joe Hendry, and
just a little.
He appears on NXT tonight.
Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, hopefully he does. But yeah, so we'll be back here then, and yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we'll see you all then. And speaking of NXT, Tazzy is doing his watch along on his channel this evening, so go check that out and have a good time watching, and hopefully you will see Joe Hendry and the Rascals and maybe a lot of others. So hopefully we'll start to see more folks kind of going back and forth. So thank you all so much for joining us this week. We greatly appreciate it. If you don't mind, drop a like on the video. We would greatly appreciate that. So, all right, folks, we will see you next time. Take care.